before I get to the subject of this video, I wanted to share a little story with you guys. So originally I was going to film this outside, but then the sun began to go down, so it got kind of dark, and I was sitting in the back of my dad's truck, in the bed of my dad's truck, and since it started to get dark, I put my phone, the light on my phone, on me so you could see my face, and so the light is really bright, so in the dark I can't see anything around me, and I'm normally night blind anyway, so I can barely see in the dark in the first place. And I was sitting there and I was talking about the subject of this video, and I started to hear footsteps behind me on the sidewalk, and I thought, okay, well okay, somebody's walking behind me and they're gonna see me talking to myself to a camera, and okay. So I kind of dismissed it, and so I kept talking, and then I heard the footsteps closer to me. So I heard it like, it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, I was in the bed of the truck and I could hear the footsteps like close to the back of the truck, and it made me jump because it sounded like somebody was walking up on the truck and like was gonna climb into it or something. So I quickly looked behind me, and there was nothing there, so I just kind of assumed it was just me getting creeped out because it was getting dark, and because the lack of sight was kind of freaking me out. So I just continued talking, and this time was what really freaked me out was when I was talking and I heard the same footsteps but right next to me, just literally right next to me. And it sounded like somebody opened their mouth to talk and then breathed loudly, and then that was it. And I picked up my phone and I shined it there, and there was nothing there. And so I was like staring where I heard it, and then a bunch of sirens went off and there was fireworks, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna go inside and film the video inside. And it took me a while to find a place that had decent-ish lighting, because I don't have the fancy lights that everybody has, and so I'm in my laundry room, hence the sounds of water and me being surrounded by towels and stuff. But I just wanted to share that that story, before I started the actual video. On to the subject of the actual video that I am doing. Recently, or not exactly recently, but a couple of nights ago, I finished watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer for like the millionth time. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is one of my favorite shows of all time, and usually when I grow obsessed with a show for a long time, it becomes kind of the main focal point of my conversations with people, and most of the people lately that I've talked to don't know what Buffy the Vampire Slayer is or have never seen it. And for me that's blasphemous because it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but also for me, if you're somebody that likes the supernatural vampire shows and you've never seen Buffy or Angel, it's weird. It's weird to me. I don't know if it's weird to anybody else, but that's weird to me. Usually when people tell me that they've never seen the show, I tell them that they should watch it, and usually with that I get, why should I watch it, what's so great about it, so that inspired me to make a video about it. Without further ado, I'm gonna get my nerd on and tell you 5 reasons why people should watch Buffy. Reason number 1 is the vampires, obviously. I mean, duh. But, the demons and the other oogie weird characters in the show are great. But for me, the vampires are really, really, really cool and just really awesome, because what a lot of people forget with watching certain shows with vampires in them, or, for example, Twilight, is that the vampire is actually a very dangerous, predatorial, animalistic creature, and they basically are driven by blood and causing mischief and massacres and killing. And Buffy does not shy away from the danger and the fear and the terror of the vampire. And what I find really fascinating in the show is, spoiler alert, but Angel and Buffy, obviously everybody knows this, but Angel and Buffy get together, and it's one of the most fascinating, interesting relationships, because you've got the darkness of the vampire and the control of trying not to kill anybody, and him having a soul and being broody and all those good things, and then you've got the person who is supposed to kill this dark creature, but they fall in love with each other. And it's almost like a forbidden love, and almost like it shouldn't be something that's touched. Like, you see something in the museum that says don't touch it, but you do it anyway. And I think that that's a really interesting relationship to put together. And what I love is that the Buffy the Vampire Slayer is not afraid to show the vicious and the danger that is the vampire, and the abomination against God that is the vampire. And I think a lot of shows stray away from that, and I think a lot of movies stray away from the danger and the threat that is a vampire, and Buffy doesn't. Also, with the vampires, they are actually evil, which is awesome, because a lot of shows show good vampires, and there are good vampires, being Angel and Spike, because they have souls. But what's really cool is that when you become a vampire in the Buffyverse, you lose your soul. So you lose every single thing that makes you a good little human, you lose all humanity, and you become evil, and I think that is also really cool. Reason number 2 is that the show is unpredictable. Usually I am really good at predicting a show. I can, like, make it rain in facts, and it's like I'm psychic. But when it comes to Buffy, I am like, the only reason I know all this stuff is because I've watched it millions of times. But the first time I watched it, I couldn't predict anything. There was unexpected deaths, unexpected villains, people you didn't expect was going to come in, people you didn't expect would become evil, people you didn't expect would become good. And I think that's really great, and that comes down to the writers. For example, Joss Whedon is part of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but also some really good examples of what Joss Whedon is a part of, just to get a view of how great of a writer and creator he is. He was part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was part of both Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron. He was a part of Aliens Resurrection. He was a part of Angel, which is a spin-off of Buffy. He was a part of Dollhouse, and he was a part of, and I know a lot of people know this, Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. So this amazing writer is the creator of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So if that doesn't convince you enough to want to watch the show, just the fact that you're on your toes all the time, and I have been a part of shows and watched shows where it's just like predictable and boring, and it's like each season is the same, just with a different villain, and this show isn't, and it keeps you on your toes, and you don't know what's going to happen next. And I think that's a really great thing about a show, and that's what keeps you coming back for more. That's what keeps you hating having to wait for the new season, is the writing, and just the fact that it's unexpected, and you just don't see anything coming. Reason number 3 is that every creature in Buffy is a metaphor for the anxieties and stresses of Buffy having to grow up. For example, they can be really in your face. So, like, magic could be akin to getting addicted to drugs. Or the mayor going through the ascension is akin to Buffy having to mature and go to adulthood. Every creature that Buffy kills is a physical embodiment of a metaphor for her having to deal with all these things at the same time of being a slayer, because she has to deal with protecting the world and all the apocalypses that she stops, but at the same time, she has to deal with growing up. And so what I think is really cool is that every single creature that she kills is a huge metaphor for that in each episode. So if you watch the show and you pay attention, you can actually guess what this creature is embodying in that episode and what the metaphor is. And for those hardcore fans out there, I know a lot of people do. I noticed a lot of metaphors around the 1000th time around, but what's really, you can actually make a game of it. You can watch the show and see, like, guess what the metaphor is, and it can be like, it could be really fun. I would actually love playing a game like that. But what I just read though, to explain it better, is that the show does not present monsters, vampires, ghosts, or demons as ends unto themselves. Each monster is a metaphor or physical embodiment for the anxieties of growing up that Buffy must face in that particular episode. Some are clearly evident, such as magic being akin to drugs, while others are more subtle, such as the mayor's ascension into demon, reflecting Buffy's maturation into adulthood. That explains it a little bit better than I do, but I think that is a really cool thing, and it puts some depth into the show and creates layers like a cake, and I think that's pretty interesting. Reason number 4 is the strong characters, and I'm gonna get a little girly here, but I think that this show is a really good show for girls, teens, pre-teens, young adults, and adults to the elderly to watch, because it's a show with a bunch of strong, beautiful women kicking ass, and I think that's a really great thing for a girl to see, because these days, in this day and age, girls basically have to live up to other people's expectations. They're stereotyped a lot. They just, it's difficult to be a girl. It's difficult to really be anybody, to be honest. Like, honestly, this show could show absolutely anybody that you can be strong and that you can be a badass. Like, honestly, when I watch the show, I feel like a badass. I feel like I could go kill, or, well, not go kill. That's crazy. I feel like I could really do badass things, and I mean, I'm not a badass, and honestly, anybody could kick my ass, but the show makes me feel that way, and I think that it's a really good influence on girls to show, like, Buffy is this small, beautiful girl who kicks ass, like, every day of her life, and I think that's a really great thing for a little girl or a teen girl to see, is this woman who is so strong and so powerful, and it shows that you can be strong and you can be powerful, and you don't need to rely on anybody else to be that strong and powerful, and also that it is okay to be strong and powerful and to rely on people at the same time, and I think it's a really great I think that it's a really great influence on really anybody, that you can be a badass and that you can be strong, and that it's also a great thing. The show is also a lot about family and love, and fighting for your life and fighting for those you love, and I also think that that's a great message to show. Also, with the strong characters, these characters go through so much every day, yet they still remain strong and on top, and I think that's really great to show that these people go through so much bullshit, they go through so much shit, but they get back up and they continue fighting, and I think that's also a really great thing for people to see, even though it's vampires and fantasy and horror and it's all fake. The fact of the matter is, it's still a good message to show that these people go through apocalypses, they go through death, they go through pain, but they keep fighting even when hope is gone. They have endurance beyond that hope, and they keep fighting regardless of what may happen, and I think that's a really good message to show people. And number 5 is that the show is actually relatable. You can relate to these characters, and you can connect with these characters, and you feel it when the character dies. Like, if a character that you love dies, you can actually feel it as if this was a real person you were connected to, or you could actually genuinely hate these characters if they were really there, and it's actually very relatable, and you can relate to Buffy struggling with school and having to be a Slayer. You can relate to the relationship issues. You can relate to the friendship issues, to the high school, to the feeling lost and not knowing who you are or what to do with yourself or where you are supposed to be. And you can just, it's easy to relate to, and the jokes are easy to relate to. And these people they're teenagers and they're young adults in the show, and even though they're going through all this crap, they're still people, and you can relate to that. You can relate to everything, and, hug yourself every time I said the word relate. But you can feel it, and you identify with these people, and I think that's really great, because it's hard when there's a show that you can't even grasp who this person is. You don't understand them, you don't understand their cause. I think that's a problem, and I think that is really an issue, because what makes a show so good isn't just the writing, isn't just the actors, isn't just the music or the visuals, it's the people, the characters. It's the ability to relate to something, and it's so fascinating that you can do that you can relate to a person who's not real. You can relate because this person becomes real to you. It becomes a real person, and you actually start to feel for them, and you start to identify with them and understand, yeah, I feel lost, yeah, that feels sad, yeah, I lost my mom, yeah, like, I lost a friend, like, I'm scared, like, and that's a really great thing about this show, is you can relate to it, and it's not just a crazy vampire killing monster show. It's romance. It's sad. It's growing up. It's character. It's development. It's growing up. It's maturing. It's death. It's learning how to cope with death and losing somebody that you love, and learning how to love somebody else, and seeing the good in people, and fighting for who you love. It's not just vampires and darkness and pain. It's so many things in one, and it's got it all. It's not just got the vampires. It's got it all. It's got everything that you look for in a show. It's got the emotion. It's got the drama. It's got the love. It's got the pain and the sadness. It's got the scary. It's got the blood. It's got everything that you would want in a show and more. And I don't know how else to explain it. And also it's got Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. I mean, and David Boreanaz and James Marsters, like, how, like, and Allison Hannigan and Nicholas Brendan, like I mean, it's got all those wonderful, amazing people in it, and the entire cast is incredible and so fun too, and I want to meet them one day and talk to them. Like, I want to have a conversation with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I want to have a picture with Emma Clawfield, and just, there's just so much that I want to do, and this show is just, it's inspiring, and it's beautiful, and it's got everything that you could ever hope for in a television show. So there you go. Those are my 5 reasons why people should watch Buffy, and I hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, give this video a thumbs up. And if you would like to give me to give you other reasons or my opinion why people should watch, like, Supernatural or Pretty Little Liars or Teen Wolf or any other show, then feel free to tell me, because I would be more than happy to share that. And also, if you would like to, and you really, 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 really should, you should hit that subscribe button and join me in this chaotic, mad, mad world that we have here. And, yeah. And I hope that you have a wonderful day and a beautiful night. And this is Kat signing off. Bye. I apologize for that awkward outro. I forgot it for a while, and I'm still doing awkward things. For some reason, I am just, for the past couple of days, I have been extra awkward. Like, I'm always awkward, and I'm always weird. But for some reason, lately, I have been, like, extra awkward. And, like, yesterday, me and my boyfriend went on a date, and we went to this place to get pizza, and I feel so bad for this poor young waiter kid. I was clearly freaking him out because I was so awkward and I didn't know what to say, and everything I said just sounded stupid. And the thing is me and my boyfriend, we're both awkward people. And it's like when we are together and stuff, it's like the awkwardness goes up even more, and it makes it even more awkward. Like, I'm awkward by myself. He's awkward by himself. And then when we're together, it's like a whole cloud of awkward, and it makes me it's hilarious, but also with certain shy people, it makes them uncomfortable, it makes them feel weird, and I feel so bad for this shy, cute, adorable, young, I mean, he was young enough to call Amberbach, the beer, Amberbark, so I felt so bad for him because I was so awkward, and I just wanted to order my pizza and for him to just go on with his life, because it was getting worse all day. But anyway, again, thank you for joining me in this video, and I hope you have a wonderful day and a beautiful night, and this is Kat signing off. Bye.